Today we're counting down LeBron James rookies by PSA 10 gem rate. The data here is as of 2026. The history, timeless. Let's get to the cards. At number 8, we have the 2003 Etopps. Etopps was really a product ahead of its time in a lot of ways. Think of print to demand like Topps now, but with a vault element where you could buy and sell the cards. You could also have the card delivered in a sealed one-touch case. That's probably why this gem rate is the highest in the countdown at 32%. Also why we have a PSA 10 population, the highest in the countdown at 429. They did have a print run cap of 10,000 on this card, but LeBron easily hit the 10,000 card cap. This card is up 49% in the last 3 months. PSA 10 value, $2,388. PSA 9, $690. It's only a 3.5x price ratio, a series low. That makes sense given the higher gem rate of this particular card. This card, though, is picking up steam. 13 sales in the last 90 days in PSA 10. That's a series high. Makes sense as to why the price on this one is up quite a bit. But before we go to number 7, this card looks great in hand. I thought I'd show it. See that mirror-like finish and the raised Etopps logo. At number 7 is the Fleer Mystique, serial numbered out of 999. Unfortunately, this was the last year of the Mystique product. Fleer Skybox ended up going bankrupt just 2 years later in 2005. In spite of the reflective foil treatment here, the card has a pretty good gem rate, 31.9%, 94 PSA 10s. The card is up 12% in the last 3 months. PSA 10, 5,912. PSA 9, 1386. You can see there the months of supply is 6 months. But we have to keep in mind this card is fairly scarce. So with just 2 PSA 10 sales, if that were to be 3 sales or 1 sale, that's going to change that metric quite a bit when we have these lower supply cards. At number 6, we have the Upper Deck Black Diamond. It has that multi-layered foil background. Really a premium brand here from Upper Deck. In spite of that, again, 27% gem rate, fairly high given the foil on this card. PSA 10, 70 population here. 3 months price change, 28%. So this card's up quite a bit. $27.50 for a PSA 10, $665 for a PSA 9. That's a 4x price ratio. You can see the series high here in the turnover, 5.71%. Again, because this card is scarce, if you have 4 sales versus 3 versus 5, it can change that ratio quite a bit. Unfortunately, I didn't see any eBay listings at the time I looked. It's kind of a trend with several of these cards. At number 5, we have the Upper Deck Star Rookie. Let's trace this back to the origins of Upper Deck with the 1989 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. Star Rookie. These were actually short printed, 1 in 4 packs. Gem rate 24%. This card in particular has more PSA 10s simply because it's from a flagship product, 405 PSA 10s. It's pretty much flat the last 3 months, up 2.8%. PSA 10, 1,341. PSA 9, $250. You can see this card has more sales volume simply because there's more supply of it. 7 PSA 10s sold in 90 days, 13 PSA 9s. Number 4, we have the Bazooka. This is a budget brand here, but you can see the Bazooka Joe next to LeBron. LeBron actually had several cards in this set, but this being the one labeled rookie card, more commonly graded. 261 PSA 10s. This card is actually up 49% in the last 3 months. I was quite surprised by that. 2,500 in PSA 10, 317 in PSA 9. Again, paying up the premium here, 8x series high for the price premium. Perhaps this card is quite difficult to get in PSA 10 condition due to the distribution and being a more budget brand. At number 3, we have the Ultra Lucky 13. There are actually variations of this card. Lucky 13 Gold Medallion and Platinum Medallion, which was numbered out of 100. This Lucky 13 was an SP, numbered out of 500. Actually tougher to pull than the Gold Medallion, which was unnumbered. But the Gold Medallion and the Platinum Medallion being die cut, it's more difficult to get a PSA 10 on. 9.3% gem rate on the Lucky 13 base here. versus the gold medallion, 5.3%. Not a lot of pricing data here, so I don't have any 3 months change. I only saw one PSA 10 listing of this Lucky 13, $4,675 sale. That's why a lot of this data is incomplete. I saw no PSA 9 sales and months of supply. Didn't see any listings on eBay either. But yeah, that's the data for this one. But there's actually another version of this card that isn't pack pulled that PSA doesn't always distinguish from this Lucky 13 numbered out of 500. It's really created some pricing confusion. I actually did a deep dive on this. Bottom line, look at the card itself. Buy the card, not the label. At number 2, we have the Fleer Showcase. This card is serial numbered out of 1000. The Fleer Showcase brand was a premium line out of Fleer. Very, very condition sensitive with that foil, all that shine there. It's only a 6.1% gem rate. And even more interesting is the PSA 10 pop is only 13, series low. This card is not very actively traded, so we don't have a price change metric here for the previous 3 months. We do have an estimate though for the PSA 10 at $7,182. It's a very rough estimate, but that's a series high. PSA 9, $1,494, 4.8x price premium on this one. As I said before, this is thinly traded, so a lot of metrics. We don't have data here. Before we reveal number 1, let's take a look back. As a junior in high school, LeBron was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, nicknamed the Chosen One. His high school games were nationally televised on ESPN2. LeBron was really the most anticipated prospect I've ever seen. He's on the Beckett cover 3 months in a row leading up to the draft. In June 2003, Beckett magazine quoted a scout saying he would have been the number 1 pick even in 2002. I remember Topps Chrome was marked up significantly at release. Before LeBron had any NBA cards, card number 1 in this countdown hit the newsstand. I hope you enjoyed that trip down memory lane. At number 1 is the SI for Kids. This was a perforated sheet in the Sports Illustrated for Kids magazine. Mass distribution, newsstand, subscriptions. I remember buying a stack of these at Barnes & Noble. Unfortunately, I never got a PSA 10 on any of them. Kind of shows you based on the gem rate here, 5.5%. A series low. PSA 10 population is the highest in the countdown, 173. There's just a lot of these cards, but it's really tough to gem based on where the card is on the sheet as well. In the top right corner, you have corner issues as well as edge issues, and then the perforations can cause issues as well. But this card is down 33% in the last 3 months. I assume that's due just to the supply here. $975 in PSA 10, series low, $136 in PSA 9. It being a high school card and it being plentiful, not pack pulled, those all contribute to the lower price. It does have the series high supply ratio of a 6x. It's just very hard to get a 10 on this card, but there are a lot available relative to how many are selling, 5.3 months of supply. And then I like to show the highlights here at the end. Various highlights that we went through, with the Etopps being the most liquid and the easiest to gem. And the hardest to gem is the SI for Kids we just covered. And also I like to show the 8 cards that we looked at, all the data on one page here, in addition to all the metrics. If you didn't see a rookie card here, I have another countdown video on some of the higher pop LeBron rookies, like the Topps Chrome. I'll link it in the description. See you on the next video. Thanks.